Hi there, Shortcuts. This is Stephen here. We got video 2 in this week's price list. This will go out, the price list will go out 9 p.m. Wednesday as always. That's Sydney time. And if you would like to be on the list, drop me a note at shortcutsrecordsaus@gmail.com. Now, this list is hip hop, electronica, classic rock. There's a selection of female classics, 4 of them, some Aussie as well. Anyway, let's see how we go. Lead off record is easy this week. It is this. It is the sold out exclusive of The Stakes is High by the mighty De La Soul. This is a 2 LP self-produced pivotal release on black and white vinyl number 1220 of 1500. Vinyl Please have a legacy of producing definitive De La Soul pressings. So probably one of the key records in my entire collection is their 2 LP 45 RPM splatter copy of their debut album 3 Feet High and Rising, which is wonderful. My favorite of theirs is Balloon Mind State, which is the record, I think it came just before this one. I'm pretty sure this is their 4th. This of their kind of classic run of 4 records is the one that I was least familiar with. It's the first of their records which is self-produced. Before that, they worked with Prince Paul, who architected that mellow, quirky kind of dance style, particularly 3 Feet High and Rising. But by Balloon Mind State, there were some harder beats in it, and some really clever and thoughtful lyrics, and just amazing grooves. This band absolutely specialized in dropping something that was just incredibly danceable, but intellectually complete and thought through. Number of MCs, pause, etc. They're just on top of the game. And The Stakes is High is a different beast because it's self-produced. There's a confidence to it. You can tell that they poured over this, but it's also a critique of how they felt hip hop had changed. I mean, this record came out after the likes of Wu-Tang Clan's, 36 Chambers, and this rise of gangster rap, and it clearly is them staking their ground as per the title, but also, I don't know, sharing their dissatisfaction. There are a lot of the songs where they talk about, the path that people are taking, the way this music is going, and you can tell that they're not comfortable. In saying that, it's still over these insanely catchy, hummable, groovy beats. The drums rock on occasions on this record, and it just completely, it can be exhilarating, but it's also very dense in the wordplay and lots of jokes and a few skits and pieces. A lot of the skits are reinserted back into this kind of definitive vinyl version. I think even some of them are not on the Spotify lists, and certainly I know there's another there's other ways to buy this record. I always like the VMP exclusives because they do find a way to create the right kind of colors, and because of this incredible black and white image, the black and white vinyl just works great. And on my system, it sounds superb. It sounds as good as any of their other classic releases. So if you love classic hip hop, there's another hip hop record to come. Stakes is High is fantastic. Sold out now as well, so you can't get them. But there's one there for someone. All right, now I've got something wildly different. This is fun. This is, can you see this? Actually, I'm going to take it out of the sleeve. This is Bruce Lee, Enter the Dragon, the Big Boss, Fist of Fury. This, and you can probably see it best here. These is a compilation of all of the theme songs of Bruce Lee's greatest movies. So on side one, you've got the theme from Enter the Dragon, Hans Island, The Monk, Fists of Justice, The Life or Death Struggle, Bamboo Birdcage. I actually played this on my office before earlier today. It's a lot of fun. Side two, the theme from Fist of Fury 2, and various different scenes from Enter the Dragon. There's the image on the back. Look at that. It's just a really, really cool kind of artifice. Very, very different. I've never seen this before. And, you know, it's really fun and different. So there you go. All right. Now, I've got a couple of classics here. Now, one you all know. I'm just going to make sure I've got that. Yeah, the P10101A pressing of Led Zeppelin 2 by the Japanese is wonderful. So I've got one of those for those of you who still haven't found your way into this. But I wanted to show you this. Look at this. So the guys in Shinjuku have put together a pretty special package here. This is a really fantastic copy of Led Zeppelin 4, complete with Obi, in wonderful condition. I played the record earlier. It absolutely rocks. But let me just show you the famous, maybe if I do it this way, the famous 4 cymbals. I really don't think this has been played very much at all. It sounds great. Have a look at all the 5-star reviews. It is the P6519A pressing. The reviews are fantastic on Discogs, and I must admit, I thought it sounded really good as well. The inserts are all present and correct in fantastic condition. But of course, those of you who are eagle-eyed would have noticed that this is not the sleeve, because there's this thing here. So what have we got here? This is great. There's the little insert. And there's the back side, which is probably getting you a little bit closer to the truth. Put that carefully down, because I've been given notes. This has never been played. It's still got its original little insert. And this is the Japanese first press of Black Dog, the single. B-side, Misty Mountain Hop. Unplayed. How fabulous is that? So you get a really nice pressing of Zep 4, fantastic condition with inserts and Obi, and a near mint Japanese single of Black Dog. That I held that back from the markets because I wanted to offer it to you all. As someone out there will get something pretty special. All right. Now, I've raved about this many times before. I've still got an extra copy of it. I'm just going to say the Japanese pressing of Exile on Main Street is fantastic. This, for those of you who want to look it up, it's the ESS 50049. It's the copy I have. It's the best sounding version of this record I've ever heard. It's got all inserts and all the bits and pieces with Obi. It's your forever copy of that record. It's that good. And the record's that good as well. Man, every side. What I do with Exile on Main Street is I just pick a side. And, if you go and play side 4, for example, and I'm just going to do this. Let me pull it out. Just because we can. Side 4, Exile on Main Street. All down the line. Classic blues groove. Jagger sounds amazing. Stop Breaking Down. Now you've got Chicago blues. You've got Old Muddy Waters. It sounds like the band has just become the type of band that plays in a gin joint, on, 6th Street, Chicago, just amazing. Then Shine a Light. Now, Shine a Light is gospel and is one of the most amazing Rolling Stones deep cuts. When they did a concert movie that I took Melissa to yonks ago, and it was kind of like their version of Stripped. I can't remember what it was called, but the version of Shine a Light with the choral background and that stonking riff is just great. And then that segues into Soul Survivor, a kind of rip-roaring finish. And that's just side 4. And you can pick any. I mean, side 3, what do you got? Side 3, Happy, one of Keith Richards' greatest songs, Turd on the Run, which is just so dirty and groovy. Ventilator Blues, side 3s, where they just go deeply weird. And it's just a brilliant album. Every time you play it, bring it out and look at the sleeve. There's hundreds of photos. There's always something you can find on that record. And alongside that, I have an absolutely pristine copy of Let It Bleed. The track list on this: Let It Bleed, Love in Vain, Midnight Rambler, Gimme Shelter, You Got the Silver, You Can't Always Get What You Want, Live With Me, Monkey Man, Honky Tonk. With the famous cake cooked by Delia Smith. This pressing comes with a really nice, actually, little booklet of photographs and bits and pieces from the band on the London label. Sounds great, like all the Let It Bleeds do. Highly, highly recommended. There you go. Now, here's our run of 4 female artists. This one needs no introduction. This is Kate Bush, The Whole Story. Now, I had this maybe twice this year, and the people who've got it have raved. Side 1, Wuthering Heights, Cloud Busting, The Man with the Child in His Eyes, Hounds of Love. Side 2, Running Up That Hill, Ordinary Dreamers, The Dreaming Babushka. There's the famous video for... which video is that? I think it's The Man with... No. Cloud Bursting. And there she is. Genius. Yeah, it's great copy, great sounding pressing. You can't go wrong. If you don't have this record, the Japanese pressing's great. Highly recommended. Okay, now we've got, I think, maybe, this is interesting. This is Visions by Grimes. Isn't she Elon Musk's other half now? But this was her second or third record. This thing was huge. This was, I think, 2012 or 2013. Finished top of the polls many records that year. Had 2 brilliant singles, Genesis and Oblivion. Made its way into many lists of the best album of the 2010s. I think it even made its list. It made its way into the latest run of Rolling Stone's top 500 albums of all time. This thing's a groove, and yeah, it's a lovely recent repress that will be very reasonably priced. Alabama Shakes, Boys and Girls, the debut album featuring the first time we all got to hear the incredible voice of Brittany Howard. This is a 2012 first press in perfect condition. So there we have Kate Bush, Grimes, Alabama Shakes, Brittany Howard, and then one of my favourite female artists. This is Nancy Sinatra. The Japanese just make the best Nancy Sinatra records. These boots are made for walking, some velvet morning, something stupid, Sugar Town, summer wine. But what's wonderful about this is the absolutely amazing centerfold. Just so cool. I love Nancy Sinatra. She's just one of my guilty pleasures. I just love everything about her voice and her coolness. There you go, Nancy Sinatra. Okay, a couple of things we'll flick by. All of these are kind of interesting, really. I've got a really nice Best of Little Richard. Covers all the bases. Actually sounds really, really nice. It was made by Summit Records in Australia, so an Australian press, and it's actually quite good. I've got another hip hop I mentioned earlier. I've got Raising Hell, Run DMC. Now this was one of Vinyl Please's hip hop records of the month. I'm just going to show you. I've played this quite a few times. I'm just going to show you what it looks like because, as always, they just do great packages. Now this is the Run DMC stencils. You probably can't see it so well, but you push out the things and you can stencil over and you get the classic Run DMC labeling. But this is what the record looks like. Look at that. Fluorescent green. It sounds amazing, and it's one of the first records to combine, if not the first, to combine rap and rock, of course. Rap's Big Bang, the action that made it the dominant musical force of the 21st century, was helped along by Steven Tyler putting his mic stand through the wall in the video for Walk This Way. Very cool. Those of you who've been around Shortcuts for a while know how much I rate this album. Fleetwood Mac's self-titled album. This is the one that came before Rumours, but it has the classic kind of pop rock lineup if you ignore the blues lineup. Mick Fleetwood on drums, John McVie on bass, Christine McVie on keyboards, Lindsey Buckingham on guitars, Stevie Nicks on vocals. We've lost a couple of these guys now, but this is the record that features maybe my favourite Fleetwood Mac kind of pop rock version of Fleetwood Mac song, which is Landslide by Stevie Nicks, which I just find it incredibly moving every time I hear it. But it also features Rhiannon, Say You Love Me, and Monday Morning. It's, I think, one of their best. It's as good as Rumours, I think. There's something quite different. This is the third album by Aussie band Sticky Fingers. There they are. And this is the gatefold release with the lyrics. Now, this record only had one vinyl press from what I can tell, which makes it quite super desirable. My understanding, I'm not a fan of this band, but my understanding is it sounds amazing. I think it's their biggest hit. It's really hard to find. So, yeah, I'll stick it on the list for those of you who are into that type of thing. All right, now this record is also on Rolling Stone's 500 greatest records of all time, and it is Solid State Survivor by Yellow Magic Orchestra. Electronica record from 1979. And, you know, as you might imagine, the Japanese absolutely nail this record. It sounds great. It's a really funky, groovy listen, and I really like my copy. So if you don't know it, give it a tinkle. The first couple of tracks will tell you whether you need it or not, and that Japanese pressing is perfect. As is this, Hard Promises, the 1981 release by Tom Petty. I think maybe their fourth album as well, featuring Mike Campbell on guitar, who became an integral part of the Heartbreakers. Produced by Jimmy Iovine. The Waiting, I think, is the key track from this record. But it's really, really good, as all Tom Petty records from this era were. And again, the Japanese just seemed, again, just find high quality vinyl, high quality pressing. I really like my Tom Petty Japanese, and so, yeah, I think a really, really cool record. If you ever find an US or Canadian first press, in the early runs of the US or Canadian first press, in the Dead Wax, the Heartbreakers asked for the following inscription: "We love you, JL," which was their call out to John Lennon, who'd been murdered while they were making the record, or maybe it was shortly before it was released. I can't quite remember. But if you ever find the first press, have a look and see if that's in the Dead Wax. It's a lovely little touch. All right. Finally, I'm going to finish with an album that I think is super unappreciated and one of the best albums released in recent years. And it is this: Carrion Lowell by Sufjan Stevens. Sufjan Stevens released Come On, Feel the Illinois shortly after I met Melissa, who's now my wife. And we played that record to death. We both think it's one of the best albums of all time. I still think it's wonderful. A kaleidoscopic record that is a love letter to Illinois and to Sufjan Stevens' childhood. And we were lucky enough to see him on the tour for that record, and it was joyous. Yeah, really great. And he's released a lot of different types of music since then: classical, electronica, and some more challenging music. But a few years back, I can't remember whether it was his mum or dad who passed away. Anyway, he had family tragedy. In 2015, he released Carrion Lowell, which is his tribute to his mum and dad. And he's got some photos that he got from the personal records. And it's a real, look at these, it's a real return to that acoustic, kaleidoscopic sound of Come On, Feel the Illinois. It is at times almost too beautiful. It is so moving. The second track, Should Have Known Better, just tears me up. It is really, really great. And so I bought a collection of recent represses when I'm not a big fan of recent represses. But the reason I bought this one was because I really liked the selection. Alabama Shakes and a whole bunch of others that are really good. Grimes, Sufjan Stevens. These recent presses are really good. They're well done. They are what they are in terms of, you're not going to get further audiophile releases, I think, of these types of records. And so, getting these early presses in great condition at good prices are what you need. And a beautiful, beautiful record. It really is. It's really lovely. And so, yeah, if you don't know it, dive into it at some point and let it wash over you. Sufjan Stevens, I think, is kind of, for me, right up there in terms of modern artists that just kind of grab my attention. And I love that he forges his own path. Really, really interesting guy. All right, there you have one of the most diverse lists I've ever had. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you find something that piques your interest, or maybe something new that you can put on your playlist and explore before the price list goes out on Wednesday, 9 p.m. Sydney time. If you would like to be on the price list, drop me an email, shortcutsrecordsaus@gmail.com. As always, thank you all for listening this far and have a great week. Bye.